Hey, it's Tom Jacobs here. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. I love giving little tidbits about sales to the health and wellness community. And this one is particularly great because I share my story. Let's dive into it. I was 29 years old and I was going for my yearly annual physical with the doctor. And when I went there, the doctor was like, "You're 40 pounds overweight, you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and you're only 29, almost 30 years old." And when I got that news, it was like a slap in the face because I'd always been super skinny as a kid and I never had really a weight problem. But it snuck up on me, which is what it does for a lot of people. And that was the turning point when I decided to make health and wellness and fitness a part of my daily life and transform my body. But not only did it transform my body, but it also transformed my career as well, which was just an added bonus. And it was through that passion that I developed a business. The old saying is, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, I feel like I haven't worked a day in my life since I'm 30 years old. So it worked out really, really well. So with this newfound body transformation, I actually got a lot of friends and family and coworkers that were asking me, like, "What are you doing? What's your secret?" And I realized at that point that a lot of people just lack the motivation, and not the knowledge, but the motivation on making a change in their life. And at that point, I decided to make a business out of health and wellness. And so I got certified as a personal trainer and started my personal training business. Of course, I knew nothing about sales and marketing and growing a small business, even though I'd worked in corporate America for 12 years, managing millions of dollars in freight budget. I didn't know how to run a small business. And so we had all of these issues come up one after another after another. In the first year of business, it was quite a struggle. And in fact, I almost went broke 2 or 3 times in that year until I figured out that my number one problem was not knowing how to sell. I realized that I had a sales problem, but there's nothing that can be done unless first you realize you have a problem and then decide to fix it. And so that's what I did. I really dove deep into the psychology of sales for health and wellness and fitness, because that's slightly different than selling a car. And I went really deep with it and fell in love with selling because I figured out a process to sell at a very high level. And in my challenges, I realized that a lot of other health and wellness practitioners have the same challenge. They don't like to sell. I didn't like to sell. I thought I was pushing something onto somebody, and that's absolutely the furthest from the truth. You're not pushing anything on somebody. You're actually helping them make a decision to better their life. And that is that mindset that a lot of health and wellness practitioners need to flip to really start to enjoy the process of selling and getting more clients involved in their program. One of my sales coaching clients, Dr. Nick, was definitely struggling, just like I was, with making sales in his chiropractic and health and wellness functional medicine practice. And when we dove into his sales process, there wasn't a process. So that was like the number one thing. And he felt weird about like talking to people and convincing them to go down this route. And once we got a process in place and then did some role plays and really solidified it, he doubled his sales conversions. Went from like a 30% conversion rate to 60% conversion rate in a matter of 2 months. Think about what that would do to anybody's practice, right? To be able to have the same number of sales calls, but selling twice as many people. And that is how he was able to then grow his practice and really fall in love with the process all over again. The most important step for any health and wellness practitioner to increase sales is something that you would never think would come out of my mouth, right? Because I'm always talking about sales and how important that is. But before you even get into that sales process, you have to have the right mindset to be able to sell at a really high level. And when I work with clients on this, it's diving into why they got into business in the first place and developing that story so that they can relate that with their prospects as a way of creating that rapport. But also it changes their mindset that the sales conversation is not something that you do to somebody, but you're solving that prospect's problem with your solution. And once you get your mindset correct around that, then everything is going to get a lot better. When I first started my health and wellness business, I was definitely not very good at selling, and I needed to find out how to do it better. And I spent hours and hours, probably hundreds of hours, reading books, taking courses, investing in coaching, and I was just a sponge to learn all about selling, but from a perspective from the heart. And over the last 10 years, I've developed a process that I call the heart-centered approach to selling. And that is how health and wellness practitioners can get a lot better at selling when you are selling from the heart. And what that really means is that you are understanding what the problem is of the prospect and doing whatever it is within your power to help them solve that problem. And once health and wellness practitioners get over that initial mind trash of having to sell something and figuring out now I'm solving a problem, it's going to get a lot easier to add more clients to your practice. Now, one thing that I'm super excited about is my book. So I'm in the process of finalizing the book at this point, and it should be out in February or March of 2024. And it's the whole process and the psychology behind selling from the heart. And it's called The Heart-Centered Approach to Selling, a practical guide for health and wellness practitioners. The title tells exactly what it's about. And it's my way of giving back to the health and wellness community and as a way of helping them get better at selling so you can help more people. And I'm super excited. And I want everybody to get this book and look out for it in February of 2024. That last part.